nowadays you got to have that because people nowadays.
Before we get straight into the podcast, I just want to give a huge shout out to our sponsors, Declan Kirby GAA Star. Declan Kirby GAA Star Championship Journey. It's a series of GAA team children's books written by primary school teacher and GAA coach Michael Egan. You can check it out in the link in the description down below, of course, as well. Follow the trials and tribulations of Declan Kirby and his team at Smithgreen Gaelic Football Club, recently formed but promising GAA team. The book is now available in Easons and all good bookshops, so check it out in the description down below, and let's get straight into it. So welcome back to GAA Fan TV. My name is Aaron. I'm delighted to be joined here by Paul Flaherty from What's the Score and former Galway hurler himself, of course, as well. I suppose first of all, Paul, obviously we're here to recap the weekend for both the hurling and the football action. How's life anyway? I'd imagine as a Galway man yourself, I suppose not the best weekend anyway, and I mean I suppose it can't really get much worse.
Yeah, thanks very much, Aaron, for having me on. Yeah, in terms of Galway, both hurling and football codes, it's not been great so far or at the weekend. We're with the knockout stages, we're knocked out, unfortunately, on both competitions. So it's a sickener.
Yeah, because I suppose at least normally, like when you have one bad result in one code, maybe the footballers might go out and right the wrong. But I suppose like both defeats as well, and sometimes maybe there's a way to lose games, but I suppose to lose both of those games in that manner, like it's I suppose a tough one to take, given the fact that that's it now for both Galway senior hurlers and footballers at men's level anyway for up until 2022.
Yeah, it's a long wait now till they can go back and kind of give an account of themselves. I suppose back February is probably when the leagues will start, but championship won't be again till May of 2022. So it's a long time to wait to kind of get back into the to redo the wrongs that were kind of done this year. So yeah, the manner that they lost both codes, like the football, it was. Especially the second half, just the way that they performed, like it was very disappointing. And the hurling didn't really, they got going toward the end, but they didn't really give a full account of themselves either. So it's very disappointing weekend for Galway.
Yeah, 100%. And I suppose we'll start by run through the football, obviously. And you were touching on Galway there. It was obviously Galway 2-8, Mayo 2-14. Like, I suppose like in the first half in particular, it looked like that was the Galway that I think a lot of people were expecting to see, maybe when you go way back to, before the lockdown under Patrick Joyce. But I suppose in the second half, no points from play, all 3 points from frees and place balls. Like, what were your overall thoughts on the game?
Yeah, like the start of the game was really good. Galway were very physical with Mayo. They really kind of set the tone from the word go. So everyone in Galway couldn't fault the first half performance there in the football. Like Paul Conroy was doing very well. He scored definitely 2 points I think from play there, one off the left and a fisted one. Shane Walsh was very influential in the first half, and they were really physical in the backs as well. Like Johnny Heaney, Liam Silk, Moran Kearns was actually very good, kind of nearly all through as well. So it was a classic game of two halves. I actually thought. I thought Galway were very good in the first half, and then just Mayo came out in the second half, and they kind of blitzed Galway really, and they just had no answer. And that was kind of the disappointment that, as you said there, Galway only got 3 frees in the second half, didn't actually score from play, which you can read that they just had no flow up front in the second half. There was no trying to create goal chances or work some nice play and get some points on the board. Mayo just totally blitzed them in the second half. So Galway, they'll be kicking themselves, but it's only really themselves to blame. They just didn't come out in the second half.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think in the second half it was definitely, much disappointment, I suppose, for a lot of Galway fans. And what do you even think Patrick Joyce even changed maybe in the second half, or what do you even think he got wrong? Because I suppose in the first half in particular, like what you said, everything was really going really well, and then in the second half it just it all seemed to come crashing down, I suppose.
Yeah, the first half, like I think it was 3-4 to Mayo, and the game was both teams are giving it, giving it a right go, and then the ball came in. I forget who took the shot, but it hit the post, and Shane Walsh was the first man on it, and he just had a bullet of a shot straight into the goal, and then like Comer, even though he was kind of quiet, really. Throughout the game, I suppose. But he, when he got the chance, he roofed the ball into the net, and it was 2 quick goals then. And Galway got the real energy from that, and Mayo, they didn't really know what to do. The half time, then I don't know, maybe the scuffles in the middle of the dugout as the both teams were coming in, maybe that kind of got Mayo going. And some person told me that someone after Mayo actually said that it started with Johnny Heaney and Aidan O'Shea, and they were shouldering in on the way in. And Johnny Heaney told O'Shea, "You can't take your baiting," and how he had to eat his words. Then I'd say at the final whistle. No, I don't know how true that is. This is just speculation, but yeah, Mayo came out. I think sorry, I'm actually kind of question what the Porridge do. I think Mayo just totally blitzed them in the second half. They brought on like Owen McLaughlin and all these kind of lads started running from deep. There was no real bite to like there was jump. Mayo didn't really get going until the second half, and that's when their athleticism, their running, just like Tommy Conroy was kind of had a few balls in the first half and then kind of ran into defenders, but there was a point there where he just bulleted past 3 lads and put it over on his left, just kind of near enough inside the D, and like it was just a total different Mayo, and they just came out and like Aidan O'Shea was very influential. He put in some. I'd love to know the turnovers because he had lots of turnover ball in the middle there. I think it was Johnny Heaney was turning the ball and his left arm hit where the ball was and just popped out, so he was very influential, Aidan. And like you look at Jim O'Connor, he kind of came off, he wasn't really in it, and but like they still had they've a stronger bench, Mayo did, and like Kevin McLaughlin came on, got a score as well, like, and he all his experience as well really told. So I don't think Porridge had the same, and I wouldn't say it was more of a tactical battle that Porridge lost it. I think it was just the strength and depth, and when Mayo put on the gas in the second half, Galway just didn't have any answer for it.
Yeah, because it seemed like anytime Mayo seemed to run at Galway in the second half, they just seemed to cause all sorts of problems. And Tommy Conroy, like what you said, even though he hit 2 points, he probably could have had a lot more, and probably even maybe could have had 1 or 2 goals as well with some of the chances he created. And I think like what you were saying there with the scuffles at halftime, it probably did get Mayo up for it. And I think I heard it was over a water bottle as well. So you don't really know what the different rumors that go flying around. I know in the Dublin Mayo game last year there was a lot of different rumors over that kind of fight as well, so you never really quite know. But I suppose for Padraig Joyce, like, would you still have him as the right man? I know he's very he's very much appreciated by a lot of Galway people, obviously for what he's done in the past. So is he still the right man to carry Galway forward going into 2022?
You kind of if you took Porridge out of it, let's say, who if unless there's someone like maybe like a Stephen Rochford that wants it, or a Jim McGuinness that kind of wants it, who else are you going to get to really get this Galway team going? If there was someone, I would say, of the caliber of Jim McGuinness or Rochford, maybe it's time for Porridge Joyce to go, but I don't think there's anyone there to fill the gap at the minute. So I don't think Porridge Joyce, getting rid of him would do Galway any favors at the minute. I think they got to stick with him. They were doing well in the first half, and he got a lot. He was getting a good tune out of them. It's just that they have to get their kind of. Maybe it's just with COVID and everything. Maybe they just need a better preseason. Find a few 1 or 2 more lads that can come off the bench and make a real impact, like the Mayos. So I would probably stick with Porridge Joyce for the time being. I don't think there'll be any. I don't think anyone is rushing to kind of say, okay, it's time for Joyce to go. He's not doing whatever X, Y, and Z right. I think he's a football man. He knows he was one of the best in the game before, so he knows the highs and lows of GA. So I'm sure that this won't affect him too much.
Yeah, and I suppose as well, like you have plenty of under 20 players obviously coming through, like at the moment as well. Like Tom O'Callaghan, I think, I'm not even too sure if he came off the bench in the Mayo game, but you've plenty of lads coming through there as well, like from the underage setup. So I suppose, like, although it's a stint in the road, like you do still have plenty of talent. And we've seen like Matthew Tierney and Paul and Sean Kelly who've come through as well. Like, so still plenty of talent there.
Yeah, and I know the captain came on, Jack Lynn, then came on cornerback there. So, I forget who got it. I think someone got injured and they had to go on. And Jack Lynn came on number 18 or 20, and he was captain of the under 20 team that won the All Ireland there. So yeah, Matthew Tierney is a great find as well. He's a great kick off his left hand side. He's a real good strike of the ball, and even from play, he can be very influential for kickouts, and he can score as well. So there's a lot there that Pádraig Joyce can work on, and he could find a few more lads as well in pre-season, like coming to the league next February and stuff. So I think there is a lot of talent there. I think Joyce probably is the right man, unless, as I said, there's someone else to kind of come in and take the reins. I would be going with the young lads that are coming.
Absolutely, like, and I suppose for Mayo, like touching on them kind of briefly, I mean, obviously they march on to an All-Ireland semi-final, which will be against either Dublin or Kildare. I think most people would fancy it would be against the Dubs. I mean, would you give Mayo much of a chance going into that game, given the fact that I suppose Dublin have certainly looked a little rocky anyway at so far in 2021?
I actually do, because this performance against Galway, they didn't get going in the first half, and James Horn, they had the scuffles at halftime, but James Horn definitely he made a few tactical changes, and he also probably gave them a good bit of stick as well, and the character of the team really came on. Then they're very, very young. Like they've got McLaughlin, Conroy, like the two lads in the field actually I thought were very impressive. Conor Loftus and Matthew Ruan. Like Matthew Ruan had an unbelievable second half there, and he got man of the match deservedly. But like they don't have that same fear factor of playing Dublin. That maybe if you still had Andy Moore in there, if maybe Colin Boyle was playing. Them kind of lads that have played them 4 or 5 times in a row there the last years, and they just can't get over the line. But these kind of younger lads, they won't have that. I think they'll be chomping at the bit to get at this Dublin team, which the Dublin team hasn't been going. They're not the same Dublin that they have been going the last few years. So I think Mayo actually, I didn't think got out of they didn't really go. They didn't shoot the lights out yesterday. And that will come. James Horn will know that, and he'll be like, there's a lot more in you lads. So like, give it everything now against Dublin, and I think they can go up another 2 or 3 notches from the Galway game. So like, I think there's I would give Mayo a good chance against this Dublin, and even if Dublin play great against Kildare and they win by 14 points or whatever. I still think Mayo will still they'll just concentrate themselves. James Horn is around a long time to know to get his team ready. He's played Mayo or played Dublin on several occasions and have got within 2 to 3 points, replays and all that. So I do give Mayo a big chance. We're presuming Dublin beat Kildare, so I would give Mayo a big chance against Dublin.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, and I suppose like they've shown down the years anyway, even with some of the young lads as well, like what they can do, and there certainly does seem to be a bit of a fearless attitude about Mayo, like even in the second half against Galway. Like, and I know even for myself as a Dublin fan, I'm kind of like there is a kind of a sense of 2012 about the Dublin and Mayo game, where Dublin kind of achieved such a huge feat in 2011, winning their first All-Ireland in 16 years, and had a lot of players retiring and kind of, seemed a little bit over the hill in 2012. And Mayo had a lot of young lads coming through in that kind of year as well. So, like, I suppose it's not impossible for Mayo. They certainly do have the talent. And I mean, on any given day, especially where, I mean, if they have Dublin going down the home stretch in a similar way to what Meath did, I mean, anything could really happen.
Absolutely, yeah. And I think that it's an All-Ireland semi-final. You don't have that kind of extra pressure of, oh, this is an All-Ireland final with the kind of, that hoodoo in Foxford and all that kind of stuff. So it's an All-Ireland semi-final. Mayo, like, they got 2-14 against Galway, but I didn't think they didn't hit the full heights. Like against Leitrim, they were just attack, ruthless all the way through. I just think that I didn't think they played to their heights against Galway and still got over them by 6 points. So I would give Mayo. I think they've got a lot left in this championship. Yeah,
like, and I suppose because they looked like they were getting better as the game went on as well. Like, it looked like they kind of still had another gear to go up on in the final kind of 10 to 15 minutes. I suppose, like, another team, obviously, they'll be hoping to end Dublin's duck at some point anyway, or maybe they might not even play Dublin if Mayo go on to beat them. We'll see what happens. But it was Kerry 4-22, Cork 1-9. I suppose this was an absolute maul, and in the end, I mean, in the opening 10 minutes or so, I was kind of, saying to a few other people, like, Cork could end up maybe pulling this off again. But once Kerry got going, I mean, this was over really by half time, like.
Yeah, it was a great first quarter, anyway, because everyone was. I was getting a bit like, the Corker, the Hurleys, the two Hurleys, Matthew and Brian were scoring there from play, and they were really playing lovely football. And then it's just since after the first quarter, then I felt it was just kind of Kerry went in. I think they went in 5 points up at halftime, something like that. And then the second half, then they just completely ran ragged. So, like, Kerry are going really well. Peter Keane doesn't say much, but they really are going in the right direction. Like, David Clifford only got 1 point from a free. Your man, I think Powter was man marking him, or maybe it was O'Leary, I forget. But like, he did a jump without David Clifford shooting the lights out. They still got 4-22, and it's very, very impressive. So, like, if Sean O'Shea doesn't play well, then you kind of have Paulie Clifford. Paulie Clifford doesn't play well, you've Paul Gainey. If Paul Gainey doesn't play well, you've got David Clifford. They've got talent all over, and Jack Barry then was got a few scores, and David Moran is very influential there. And, like, Thomas Sullivan in the first half, when Kerry weren't scoring, I think he got 2 points in the first half and cornerback, like, so the lads that can score from all over the place. They look really athletic, really fit, and I think if I had to predict the two semi-finals are going to be huge games, and it's going to be the real top four in Ireland playing against each other, whether it's Armagh or Monaghan versus Kerry. It'll be a humdinger of a game, I reckon. And then you've got, like, it's probably going to be Mayo and Dublin, and that's another fantastic semi-final. So the two semi-finals should be big spectacles in the GAA football world.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I suppose what you were saying there about David Clifford, I think it was Sean Meehan who was picking him up. But yeah, like, I suppose it kind of reminds me again a bit of Dublin in some ways. The way, if Dean Rocker or Con O'Callaghan have an off day, like, they'll still end up beating Meath or whoever by 10 to 15 points or whatever. Like, and the fact that I suppose Cork were able to keep Clifford scoreless from play, and I mean Kerry still outscored Cork, I think 422 to 8, 4 points in the final, from the first water break onwards, which is quite the statistic. So I suppose for Kerry, like, I mean, are they the favourites in your book at this moment to win the All-Ireland? Because, like what we're saying there, Dublin's certainly looking a little rocky at the moment, and Kerry are definitely, like, I mean, they've some attacking talent all across the pitch, even their defence as well.
Yeah, and like I think Brian, I can't pronounce the second name, but yeah, went in and got a goal, like, and he's wing back cornerback as well. And Tyke Morley got a point, and he's known for his full back or wing back. Have talent everywhere, like, against Tyrone. They show the form, they're bringing the form that they had in the league into the champ. So it's really Kerry are probably the team to beat, and uh, you know it's going to be very hard. Like Pro Park should suit all the boys because they're very athletic, very fit. So I would put Kerry up the top. Just on performances so far, obviously Dublin with their record, it's hard to look past them. But with the performances that have gone in this year, you'd have to put Kerry up the top.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, and I suppose Paddy Clifford as well. I mean, he's been some addition to the Kerry team, and you kind of wonder how he didn't get in the Kerry team in the past. Considering how good of a job he's done, like the link man and very much kind of the quarterback role, I suppose, in many ways for that Kerry team. Like, I think he's favourite at the moment to be footballer of the year, and you can't really bet against that at the moment. I mean, we'll see what happens between now and the end of the year, but I think a lot of people had David as probably footballer of the year at the start of the year, and Paddy Clifford's kind of, I suppose, had an exceptional year for the Kerry footballers.
Yeah, well, it's great, and it gives everyone kind of in other counties or lads that are just breaking into teams that this is possible. Like, I can do this, because he's only in there very recent, and for footballer of the year, I know that, and that's a phenomenal achievement. All other young lads, maybe if there's a young lad coming into Galway, a young lad coming into Dublin, whatever, Mayo, Monaghan, Tyrone, maybe, whatever, that, like, they can, this is possible, so they can make a real impact on their team, senior team. So Paddy Clifford, yeah, he's been, I think Tomás O'Shea was saying it, that he was kind of saying that he should be in there for the last 2 to 3 years, and couldn't understand why, because he was very influential for his club team. I think it's East Kerry, or that's the team he plays with. But he really is playing outstanding stuff. He is really a playmaker. Is like, whenever he gets the ball, there's just kind of danger. It's kind of like a Kieran Kilkenny. Whenever he gets the ball, he's kind of a real playmaker, hand pass, give and go, or just creating something. So it's very hard to leave. Like, if you want to man-mark Paddy Clifford, then you can't man-mark everyone. You can't man-mark David Clifford. You can't man-mark Paul Clifford. You need to kind of have some lads that'll be able to kind of have a bit of freedom as go up the pitch, and not be kind of, you can't man-mark six on six, backs and forwards. So yeah, he's playing phenomenal stuff, and I think it's great for football in general. I think it's great to see.
Yeah, like, I suppose that'll probably be a lesson for either Tyrone or Monaghan in an All Ireland semi final, in terms of, even if you keep Clifford scoreless, I mean, there's still so much options, so many players, and Kerry even have a wealth of talent to bring off the bench. I suppose from a Cork point of view, like, obviously very disappointing. Like, they only hit 4 points after the first water break, and they led by 4 points going into the first water break. So I suppose very disappointing from their point of view. And they do have a great crop of young players coming through. They're probably the favourites to win the under-20 All-Ireland again this year. So I suppose they probably will be back at some point further down the line. But at the moment, anyways, it does make for some grim viewing for some Cork supporters.
Yeah, like, if you looked at the first turn off the telly, and you told them the full time result, no one would believe it. It's not that Cork are bad. It's not like they don't have good footballers. It's just that Kerry are really just a bit of it's the same as kind of Galway and Mayo, just like Mayo are just a tiny bit, just a step above Galway. And I think it's the same with Kerry. Kerry are really professional, athletic, just ruthless in what they do. And Cork just, unfortunately, are just getting the brunt of it. And like you've got lads like Luke Connolly as this unbelievable footballer, Ian Maguire there in the middle of the field, very good. The Hurleys, as I said earlier on, they'd all make other inter-county teams in Ireland. So it's not that they have bad players; it's just that Kerry were just on the game. It might have took a while for them to wake up, but once they started, there was no stopping them. So it might be grim viewing for Cork, but as you said, they've got, it's kind of like Galway as well. They've got younger lads from under 20 minor teams there that are coming up. So Cork is a big county, so there's definitely going to be players there. It's just about how to kind of gel them all together and get up to the levels of Kerrys and Dublins and stuff like that.
Yeah, 100%. Like definitely do have the talent coming through at the moment, and I suppose it's maybe similar to the Galway footballers in some ways with the wealth of players that they're bringing through, that you would feel at some point over the next 5 to 10 years that it probably will click at some point. Anyways, thank you very much for tuning in to another episode of the GAA Fan TV podcast. That was myself and Paul Flaherty looking back over the weekend's action in the All-Ireland Senior Football Championship. The hurling review show, that'll be out tomorrow, so do stay tuned for that. We have an in-depth chat, of course, about Galway following their defeat to Waterford, and Paul was in fact a part of the Galway senior hurling panel back when they won the All-Ireland in 2017, so definitely worth tuning in tomorrow to have a listen to that very good in-depth chat. And of course do check out the What's the Score app as well, an app very much designed for all games across the country in both club action, and obviously inter-county action as well. It has all the scores from up and across the country, so do go ahead and check that out if you haven't already as well. Leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see you all tomorrow.